Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Max and today I'm going to be talking about the critic reviews for Eternals and why it looks like it will be the lowest rated film of all time for Marvel Studios. Alright, so we all thought Marvel Studios was immune to any sort of low Rotten Tomatoes score review or review from any critic in general, really. Of course, there have been the ones who have disliked it and people in the realm of the movie world who have voiced their opinions on Marvel Studios that are not so favorable. But we've never seen anything quite like this. After coming off the high of Avengers Endgame, films like Spider-Man Far From Home, Shang-Chi, it really seemed like even though Marvel Studios closed the Infinity Saga chapter, that they had an incredibly strong slate of films moving forward, and unfortunately that does not seem to be the case. Now, of course, everything is up to an individual of whether they like a project, characters, studios, whatever it is in the world of movies. There are so many differing opinions, styles, genres, that you can't really pinpoint anything as being good or bad overall. However, Eternals, as it sits right now on one of the biggest and most recognized critic sites, Rotten Tomatoes, it is currently at 57%. That is incredibly low for a Marvel Studios film and is in the rotten zone, which no film wants to be in. Of course, there have been films that I have loved, such as the first Venom movie, the first Suicide Squad movie, and others that have been rated rotten. So in my personal opinion, I don't really take what these critics say as what the movie actually is. I like to see it for myself and decide if I like it or not. But overall, this really is a bad thing for Marvel Studios because I think Rotten Tomatoes has become such a huge platform for movie reviewers. Of course, there is like CinemaScore and other ones out there, but Rotten Tomatoes is the one that you can put like the certified fresh in the trailers or sometimes even on the front of DVD cases. And it's really become a staple of, yes, everybody loves our film, or the vast majority love our film. Now, with Eternals, not only do you have Chloe Zhao, who has come off of some Oscar wins, but you have a big cast of new characters in a new world, essentially, for the MCU. It seems like, based on the trailers and all that, that a lot of the film will take place on Earth, but it's a very new world in terms of the characters' abilities, who this population is, their role in the MCU, and things like that. And it's just such a huge project that I think it's something that really needed to do well, and it looks like it is not doing well. Basically, every review I've seen has said, no, it's not the best Marvel movie. Is it terrible? No, there's amazing visuals, but there's not a lot of emotional weight for the viewer in this film, and I think that's what this film really needed, because based on everything we've heard, it's one of those films that is very story forward, and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, we've had great stories, but there's always big action to follow it up with, and that's kind of, in the world of comic book movies, with a few exceptions, that's really what these movies are based around. Not only the story, but also the action and the characters in general. And for a story with new characters, minimal action, and a very different look to the MCU, some reviewers have said it looks like something Zack Snyder would produce. Others have said it looks like something completely different out of the MCU that they haven't been really able to explain what it seems like. And I think that's kind of the problem here. If they had gone for a more MCU formulaic film that still had these new visuals and new characters, which would set it apart, but also let it fit into maybe the expected big action sequences at the end and things like that, I think this would have been received in a much better way. And of course, this score could change. The film is not out yet, but there are around, I think, like 150 reviews right now, and every time I look, it goes down. So it's not looking good for Eternals, and of course, we'll have to see what the audience score is. We'll have to see what other sites review the film as well as audience scores and reviews from personalities on YouTube and people that have influence. But it really seems like Marvel Studios is at that point where they have a film that obviously not everybody loves. It's a very different feel for Marvel Studios. I believe one of the producers even came out in the past couple days and said this movie does not necessarily need a sequel, which I think is a terrible decision, because you're essentially saying that it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but it's like, if it doesn't need a sequel, there's obviously not a broad, continuous story that is going to happen. And in the MCU, MCU, the beauty of the MCU and why it's worked out so well is everything has been connected and intertwined so that it matters. And you would expect with a film, especially a team-based film, after seeing how well the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and to an extent, if you want to look at it, like some of the Spider-Man films, all of these team-up films do incredibly well. So you would think that they would trust a team-based film to do well and to have a story that could be continued, but it does not seem like that's the case. So that's about all I have for now. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.